Sometimes God's calls show up in the middle of a tragedy. And for Sandra Allison, it came through two life-shaking events, a school shooting and then cancer. But in the middle of the storm, she encountered Jesus in a way that changed everything. On February 14th, 2018, in Parkland, Florida, shooting shook America. A gunman opened fire at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, killing 17 people. Sandra's two nieces were in the middle school right next door. For 6 hours, they hid in the bathroom as fear gripped every parent's heart. But God's grace, they were safe. But in that moment, Sandra felt something else. God's whisper became a shout. It's time to go back to the classroom. She had been out of teaching for years. But now God's nudge was undeniable. This wasn't just a career. This was actually a calling. So Sandra applied for the kindergarten job. The interview was warm. She was hired on the spot. And on the drive home, she wrestled with the question, the commute, the pay, the changes. But underneath all of the worry came a peace, the only kind that can come by God's giving. Sandra knew this wasn't going to be easy, but this was about purpose. She accepted the job, determined to step into what God was calling her to do. But just 1 week later, my brothers and sisters, before starting, everything changed again. Fatigue led her to the doctor, a concerning exam, then a late night call. Words like lesions, cancer, and hysterectomy, and the fear flooded her heart. She wept in the silence of the night, overwhelmed as a wife, a mother, a woman facing uncertainty. But then the light came. I'll say that one more time. But again, the light came. In her darkest hours, Sandra saw the radiant glow over her heart, and that light formed into a presence, Jesus himself. She described his love as deeper than any she had ever known. He whispered into her soul, "Shh, no more tears, I'm here." And then he gave her a choice. Come home now in love, or stay and be granted the miracles needed to heal. Sandra chose to stay. The very next week, Sandra stepped back into the classroom. She said crossing her flagger bridge felt like a holy ground. She walked into a room full of wide open children and instantly knew this is where God wanted me. Yes, soon after she had surgery, the cancer was removed. Recovery was hard, but God kept every promise. Through her husband, family, and friends, grace showed up again and again. And after months of healing, she returned to the classroom full of strength and gratitude. Here's what Sandra's story teaches us. God's call doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Sometimes comes through tragedy, sometimes through sickness, but always with his presence and promises. When Jesus whispers, "I am here," fear has to bow, cancer has to flee, and the purpose becomes clear. Sandra chose to stay. She chose to walk in God's calling, and the same Jesus who met her in the dark is the same Jesus who will meet you right where you are. If you believe Jesus still shows up in the middle of our storm, type amen in the comments. And if you ever felt his call tugging your heart, don't ignore it. Say yes to him today. And before you leave, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more stories that prove one thing, that Jesus still saves, he still heals, and he still calls for his purpose. I am Elder Derrick Strickland, and it is absolutely my wish for you that you all be blessed. Then go out there and be a blessing. Subscribe to this channel and share it out right now. Be blessed. Peace.